What's up, everybody? Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about breathing, but also a little bit about something called stress. And I know that we all know what stress is. We've all experienced it at some point in our lives, and it's happening all of the time, right? There's something that is creating stress for us, whether it's our job or the task that we have to accomplish for work, or we're playing in a sport and we have to practice, or maybe we have children, our spouse, maybe even it's in our head, creating our own stress about things that don't even matter. Stress is one of those things that it really takes some practice in order to manage. What are we doing to manage stress? I opened up with just a picture of a candle that I had lit. I was doing a meditation and I took this picture and I put it together with that phrase, just breathe. Because ultimately, whenever we're breathing, we're eliminating our ability to think about anything else. I'm going to give you a little bit of an exercise real quick and show you how powerful your mind is. So what I want you to do is I want to take your right hand. I just want you to draw a square in the air with your right hand. While you're drawing that square in the air, I want you to take your left hand and draw a circle. But at the same time, I want you to draw a square with your right hand. So a circle with your left hand and a square with your right hand. If you're anything like me, you're probably drawing either two squares or two circles, right? But you cannot draw both at the same time. The reason for that is your brain isn't allowed to think about two things at one time. This multitasking is a myth. We can only think about one thing at a time. So whenever we focus on breathing and we're conscious about our breathing, we forget about the thing that's stressing us, and it allows us to think about the thing that we want to do. So I encourage you to do as much breathing practice as you possibly can, because ultimately, if you can take control of your mind in all situations, then you take control of the situation itself. I want to talk a little bit about how stress gets involved in the workplace, because oftentimes we have a situation at work that we have to have some type of a conversation with someone that may be difficult. These conversations are not always fun. Sometimes we have to talk about things that may hurt someone else's feelings. We have to figure out how do we have that conversation without hurting their feelings and maintain the relationship, because we all have to work together. Here's the thing about people, is that we're all made of energy. And that energy sometimes is more powerful. We have the alphas and then we have the betas, right? They talk about this idea of, the alpha male is the one that is the take charge type of person, and they kind of control a lot of things that happen in the workplace. It doesn't really matter whether you're an alpha or a beta. It's the way you think about yourself. Like, you could be an alpha at any point in time. You just take charge. You can also be a beta at any time, and you can sit back. I want to show you how this works with magnets. Let's take a look. So I have 4 magnets here. I have 2 pretty big magnets. I have a smaller magnet that is pretty flat. And then I have a really tiny magnet. Of these magnets, these 2 are the strongest. If you put them together, it's pretty powerful. This magnet is very weak. It really barely even attaches to the big magnets. And this magnet, although it's tiny, it's very powerful. It's super strong. And so it's not about the size. See, you can't even put it together. It's not about the size that determines your strength. It's about the magnetic energy that you're putting out. You see, this magnet is strong enough that I can control this smaller magnet just by moving it. And I'm not even touching it, right? I can move this small magnet around, and eventually it's going to attract toward the magnetic field that we're attracted to, okay? If I use both of them, I can roll this thing back and forth, okay? The same thing is true for repelling forces. So if I turn them around, they connect. Flip it upside down, however, now if I'm trying to force this thing together, and they will not go together, no matter how much you really want to force them. All you have to do is flip it back over, and all of a sudden, everything clicks. Everything comes together. Ultimately, we all have a magnetic pull. We all have energy that we're putting out. If you're the alpha, if you're this big magnet, you are affecting a lot of people because you have a lot of energy. It could be good energy, it could be bad energy. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you what kind of energy you bring. But you are a very strong magnet, then you might be considered the alpha. If you're a weaker energy, right, you don't have a lot of energy, maybe you're very tired, or maybe you just don't care about the situation that you're in, and you're not bothered by it, you're kind of just going through the motions, then you might not have as much of an impact on others, right? Your energy is not that strong. And sometimes these people get taken advantage of. What I want to talk about is how these two energies interplay with each other. Because an alpha person, very strong energy, although they could take advantage of the weaker person and take them with them, right? They don't have to. They can actually use this to make them stronger, because everything is stronger together. The more that you can come together, the stronger you are. Just like these two alphas, for instance, right? They come together very violently. There's just a very strong pull. The same thing, if I turn it over though, they also push against each other extremely, they force themselves the wrong way. Here's the thing, is once they come to a certain point, they're gonna push each other so far apart until they can figure out which configuration makes them come together. And now you have a super magnet. This thing is really powerful, so strong. While you're thinking about this, I want you to think about yourself. What kind of energy do you have? What kind of energy do you put out? That energy is affecting other people, whether you like it or not. Anytime you walk into a space and there's other people involved, they're going to perceive something from you. They're going to perceive your energy, and it's going to affect everyone. If you have a down energy, you want to be negative Nancy, right? A negative energy, it's going to influence everyone else that's around. The same thing happens if you walk in and you're like, hey, what's going on? Right? You want to be a positive Paul. You walk in like, yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, high five, right? That energy is going to affect everyone else as well. So use your energy as best you can to affect the stress level of everyone else around you. Ultimately, at work, we may have a certain level of stress just because we're at the office, right? We're not in our comfort of our home. We have to figure out where to get food. We have to deal with the emotions and personalities of all the other workers that we have. But ultimately, just pay attention to the energy that you're bringing and use that energy to affect the stress level of everyone involved. If we come in and we have a very strong negative energy, we might start creating a lot of extra stress that's unnecessary. It's unnecessary stress that we didn't need to create. On this same token, right, the flip side of that coin, we can also create positive change. We can create a positive stress, because not all stress is bad. Some stress is actually very good. So let's talk about it. What is stress? Stress is really just a physiological response to a perceived threat or demand. It activates our fight or flight response. When we're thinking about stress, it's really just our interpretation of situations. It's our interpretation of whether we have the resources available to deal with whatever situation that we are dealing with. Here's the most important piece of this, is that it is a decision. Every element of your life is a decision. You can choose to be stressed, or you can choose to be calm. You can choose not to be calm. You can let the stress go. Again, stress is not always a bad thing. Sometimes stress can be a good thing. So the good part of stress, it creates motivation. It gives us an ability to accomplish that task, accomplish that mission, right? Let's say you're procrastinating a project and you are getting to the deadline, and all of a sudden you remember, like, oh yeah, I need to get this thing done by tomorrow. Well, here's the cool thing, is that it creates that motivation for you. Although it seems stressful, you're going to use all of that energy that you have to complete that project. Is it going to be the best? Maybe, maybe not. The other thing is it builds resilience. Every time that you overcome something, you've learned a new skill. You've learned how to deal with that situation. And the next time that it comes up, you're going to be even more resilient, and you're going to have those resources at the ready for you. It also helps us be alert. Let's think about, you're laying in bed, your fire alarm goes off. If that happens, immediately you're going to wake up and you're going to start thinking. Your brain is going to go on alert system, like, what is happening? Is my house on fire? I didn't leave anything on. Where do I need to go? What do I need to take? Are the kids okay? Who do I need to get out? Etc. All of these things create alertness. That stress is actually a good thing for you because it helps you get out of dangerous situations. It also creates a lot of growth opportunities because, again, each time that you deal with something, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to grow and learn. In the same vein, right, the stress is not always good. Sometimes stress is bad. There are potential health risks that everyone is being more and more aware of, right? The level of stress that you have, it creates extra body fat, it creates potential health, anxiety disorders, weakened immune system, right? Heart attacks become more prevalent. If there's something that you're dealing with and it's not serving you, just let it go. Seriously, it's killing you. For real, just let it go. It impairs our decision making. If you're stressed out about something that has happened, a potential conversation that you had earlier, and it's just weighing on your mind and you're carrying this thing with you, it's not helping you to think about that conversation anymore. Unless you're trying to figure out how can I do it better, that's positive. But if you're sitting here just like feeling sorry about it and how terrible of a person you are and how bad of a person they are and how, you wish that they would have done something different and how it's, oh, woe is me, everything is, they're just so mean. You're no longer focused on the thing that matters most. You're not winning. In order to win, you have to focus on what is important right now. When you start focusing on what's important right now, all of a sudden your decision making starts to become more clear. You let go of those past mistakes or those past events, and you're able to start thinking about what's right now. The other thing is it impairs our decision making if we think about the future. Sometimes the future comes into play and we're thinking, okay, well, what if I get this promotion or I don't get this promotion? What if I don't get this job? Am I going to have enough money to feed my family? What happens if I don't shoot this score? Am I going to win this tournament? Am I going to let my team down? Am I going to let my parents down? You're thinking about the future and you're stressing about something that doesn't even exist, and you're creating a lot of stress in your own mind. Ultimately, it's impairing your decision making and you're not able to stay present right now. That's where the breathing comes in. It could also potentially create a lot of relationship strain. If you're stressed out and you're coming into, whether it's a work relationship or a family relationship or a friend relationship, you're coming into the conversation all stressed out about something, your energy, just like these magnets, is going to probably repel someone else that has a positive energy. You're going to try and figure out, how can I make this situation better? Or you're going to continue being stressed out and you're going to force that situation to be worse and potentially damage the relationship to where they don't want to talk to you for a little while or maybe forever. Depends on how stressed you are and how much energy you bring into that relationship and how much you damage it. Ultimately, guys, stress it's inevitable, okay? Stress is going to happen. Stress is something that we're all going to deal with forever. The way that we deal with stress is the most important. And the most important thing that you can do to handle the stress in the moment is to breathe. So I'm going to encourage you to practice breathing for at least 5 minutes today. If you get a chance, just sit down and practice breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And just let all of the stress, whatever you're dealing with, just let it go for 5 minutes. Give yourself permission to let everything go. Because guess what? In 5 minutes, it's still going to be there, and you can deal with it then. But if you can give yourself that 5 minutes, ultimately, when you come back to dealing with that stress, it probably will not be as big of a deal as it was 5 minutes ago. All right, guys. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. I look forward to seeing you in the future, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.